When does a lie become the truth?
Gave this country everything. I cut your taxes. I brought jobs back. I gave you opportunity after opportunity. And still some of you sit around doing nothing. You complain, you scroll, you blame, but you don't build. You don't grind, you don't even try. America was never meant for quitters. It was made for people who fight, who push, who work. But right now, too many of you are lazy, soft, and entitled. I brought back manufacturing. I opened doors. I rebuilt the economy. What did you do? Sleep in? Post on TikTok? Wait for someone to hand you success? Let me tell you something. Success is earned, not given, not gifted, earned. So here's my message. Get off your butt. Turn off the excuses and start acting like you live in the greatest country on earth. Because if you waste this opportunity, you don't deserve it. Wake up, America.
Off from the bottom, working to the top. We gotta find pride in ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And once you get the pride, like damn near 2 seconds after the pride comes anger from being held like that for so long and to be made to go through those changes. You get mad, you know what I'm saying? As soon as any black man receives his first 3 checks, he starts getting mad. Because it's not about the necessity of having to have a job and having to pay and having to do that. You don't care no more about the smiles and the, yes, massa, because you done got paid. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like you want to save money. You want to help other people. And you see how far it is, how far you have to go to help anybody in your neighborhood. It's set up for me when I get paid for me to exit the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? The only reason I've had these problems is because I haven't left yet. And these problems don't come from a white man. It comes from just society, the problems that we have. Everybody's getting pimped. Whether you work a 9 to 5 or whether you work for yourself, you're getting pimped by somebody. That's not the crime. The crime is how long you allow yourself to get pimped. You have to come up. Everything is a come up. Everything is a struggle. You start from the bottom, working to the top.
When does a lie become the truth? You see, a person can speak words out of their mouth, but if you allow them to exist, and if you allow that narrative to persist, then it becomes the truth. And how do I know that? I know that because the history of a people, their tongue, their culture, their language, everything was taken away from them, and then they were rebranded, more or less. And what I mean by that is, where once they might have had an African brand, now all of a sudden they have a European brand. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about us being here in America. I'm talking about even Africans being in Africa and how they took their culture. And who is they? The people that say, I've built, I've given you. That we're lazy. Stereotyped as lazy ever since we stopped working for free. But let me tell you something. There's no way in the world anybody should be able to get on TV and talk about anyone being lazy. More Europeans came to this country. And yes, there were a lot of them that had to go through the same things and toil just like Indians, Mexicans, but I say everybody's Africans. We laid the foundation for the economy, and we did that how? We did that by our bodies. Just being regarded as chattel slaves. No better than somebody calling you a horse or a cow. And you never was that, you know. You just don't know your history. And when you don't know your history, anybody can give you a history and you'll believe it because you don't have nothing else. And especially if that person has any kind of authority over you. And then after a couple of 100 years, you want to be just like the person who made you into a horse or a pig. Now, when you have a president that talk about all what he did for his country, and he himself is an immigrant, and just do the self-history or his history, okay? That's not even his true name, you know? You can change your name, you know that. A lot of people did that, especially rich people. They are rich now, but they left poor. But the deal is this. Who do you know that you will respect for calling you lazy, telling you that you need to get off of your behind? You know, if none of us worked, and I'm talking about Black Americans, Africans, if none of us worked, our forefathers and foremothers gave their whole lives to building this country, Africa, and most other countries, just like other people. Because like I said, if the cradle of civilization is Africa, that makes us all Africans. But since you want to break us up into different categories and you let it, because you let somebody come and tell you you're lazy, and when that person was the only person on a balcony drinking mint juleps while you were in the field, or while you were bringing him those mint juleps, or you were being bred, okay, flogged, hung, burned, okay, not paid. But this is the president that you serve, and you seem to love it with all the lies and everything that he said that came out of his mouth. Sometimes people can say and lie so much that they believe their own lies, and then they teach those to those people that are beneath them and their family and their children. That's all we have right now, is history is full of lies. And I'll tell you something. When a lie meets the truth, all of a sudden that person is a militant. They're a renegade. If you don't allow them to misuse you, take your gold, take your children, if you don't allow them to do those things, then all of a sudden you have to be dealt with. And you know that's the truth. Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know, Sankara, all of these people. But our president talks about negatively about his people when there's another president that eats with orphans, digs water wells with his hand. He grabs a shovel first, talks to his people respectfully, speaks the truth, cares about his people. But we put our most hideous and criminal individual in the highest office in this land here, and we think it's okay. You have no respect for your elders. You don't respect yourself. Okay? I had a young lady tell me that she's not African. Well, babe, if you're not African, who are you? Where do you come from? How did you get here? What do you know? And everything that most of us know was taught to us in schools or by people who didn't know their history. Today, just like any other day, this man, Tupac, said we're being pimped. You know it and I know it. And anybody that has any money, the first thing they want to do is they want to leave out of the community. But we have someone, a truth teller, that we need to respect.